is Creative Delirium, and hi, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my channel if you're new here. Woo! But actually, so I have been long since thinking about some kind of low effort content that I can do, because I hate to tell you, monetizing shopping or doing a whole bunch. I'm trying to get into more regular content creation. That's the fucking point here. So, long since I've thought about doing some Reddit stories, but I've also liked to keep things a little bit spooky, so I started thinking that what if I could do something that was kind of creepy, cute, inspired? So I've had this idea sitting in my backlog of things that I should try, but I hadn't done it yet. So now that I have this Vtuber model and I don't have to worry about brushing my hair or putting on makeup or putting in contacts. I'm sorry, because my glasses, they're strong strength, they make my eyes look small. I have to put in contacts so then people feel I'm cute, okay? I'm sorry to put it like that, but I am very self-conscious about my appearance, and I am not gonna lie here. I am not gonna lie! So, it is stormy as fuck outside, and I don't know if that's gonna add to the ambiance or what, if y'all are gonna hear it. Just recording this on my little iPad, so then I have good little tracking, so first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this really long story, and then I'm going to see if I have actual time to read out the second story, and I'm going to link them both in the description of this video, so you can go read them yourself and read the comments on them and everything. But we're kind of doing a Skinwalker theme, because, bitch, I look a little creepy, and you know what? Halloween is... Okay, it's August, but you know what? Halloween is in a few months, which means right now is spooky time. It is spooky time. So, first I went over to what are the creepiest, scariest stories, real or not, that you've ever heard. And there's this post from 10 years ago from Prime's FR, for real. No, RFR. So, Prime's RFR. So, basically, the kind of goal is to do something kind of creepy cute with the reading, where we really discuss it, but kind of in a very fun, kind of cutesy, kind of anime way, instead of a way that will give you nightmares, because I had to stop watching this kind of content because the ambiance was too good, and I like spooky, but I like to be able to sleep, and let's put don't fucked up my fear center, so now I have to be I have to be careful with how I consume spooky media, otherwise I won't be able to sleep and I'll have irrational fears for years on end, people could be living in my fucking walls! Yeah, so let me start. I've posted this one a couple times before, but it seems fairly relevant. A personal experience that I had a while back. It still kind of messes me up in my head when I reread it. I'll be the first to state that all this stuff could have been taking place in my head. The mind is a freaky thing and can play some pretty trippy tricks on you. Sorry for the length. Whenever I was scared as a kid, my dad had always told me that in life, you should not be scared of ghosts. Fear the living, because they can actually hurt you. In my late teenage years, I came into some money after my father committed suicide, and I received an inheritance from him. At the time of my dad's passing, my mom owned a cabin up in Oregon by Mount Bachelor. The cabin had been put up for sale since my mom could no longer afford the payments, and renting it out was not covering the payments either. The cabin was set to go on the market for sale less than a month and was in the process of finalizing all the paperwork with the realtor and the lawyer. So for that month's time, the cabin was not going to be rented out any longer and was going to be vacant. I saw this as a chance to get away for a while and clear my head, in light of all the things going on. I quit work, I packed my snowboarding gear, grabbed my dog, and headed up in my dad's car that he had built to me, to the cabin. Now, this was our family cabin that my parents rented out throughout the year when we were not using it. I had keys to the cabin and also had a code for the alarms. So I did not feel the need to stop at the rental management company and advise them of my stay. This has nothing to do with the coming story, but I felt the need to mention it anyway. My first 2 days at the cabin were normal, and nothing out of the unusual happened. Spent my days playing with my dog in the snow, snowboardings, and in the evening playing PlayStation and listening to music. Drinking and smoking out on the balcony. Had already stocked up on food and cigarettes and liquor, so I was pretty much shut in aside from the occasional out to hit the slopes with my dog as company and DVDs, PlayStation as entertainment. I was quite content and started to feel relaxed after all the drama that had preceded my outing. The cabin itself was 2 stories. The bottom story had a living room and a side guest bedroom along with a small kitchen. The upstairs had another 2 rooms along with a walkout balcony attached to the master bedroom. Most of my time was spent either in the living room, kitchen, or master bedroom. I never ventured into the other rooms and always kept the doors leading to them shut. Open doors to dark rooms always creeped me out. Anyhow, the 3rd day came around and I was just going through my usual routine and playing with my dog. His name was Midnight, by the way. And he's also since passed. Playing games and watching DVDs. That day was pretty heavy snowfall, so I did not feel like trekking it out down the hill to the main road in my car and decided to stay in. That's when things started to get a bit weird. In our area, there were only 2 other cabins adjacent to ours, maybe a block away from each other. All the other cabins aside from these 2 were around a mile away from ours. Surrounding us was mostly forest and very tall pine trees. Tall is important later on. Most of these cabins were empty, and from the past couple of days, I knew no one was currently staying there. Gave enough background and am going to jump into the weirdness. Around midday, while outside, my dog noticed what looked like footprints in the snow around the area surrounding our cabin. It was still snowing, so the footprints looked semi-fresh, like someone had been there in the last 20 to 30 minutes before me. I thought that maybe someone was staying in a cabin near me and I may not have noticed. Maybe they were shut-ins like me. Alright, the prints led away from my cabin and they disappeared into the snow, into the denser part of the trees, disregarded the footprints, and went back inside. Nighttime came around and decided to head to bed. My dog Midnight was laying on the bed with me when I noticed his ears perk out to a standstill, listening position. This was followed by him quickly jumping off the bed and running downstairs to the living room. I lay in bed, stayed silent. I was kind of freaked out, and I could hear him moving around the stairs back and forth. Around 5 minutes, he ran back upstairs to me and started to do his doggy dance for the sign that he had to pee or that he wanted to go outside. Shit, well fine. I can't say no to him when we both went. So we both went downstairs and to my outside driveway for him to do his thing. Only he didn't want to pee. As soon as we were outside, he started to pull on his leash and drag me where he wanted to go. He kept looking into the dense part of the trees where the prints had been earlier. He kept sniffing at the side of the house, looking up and towards the roof. After he figured out that I was not going to go where he wanted, he sat himself down and stared into the darkness. A bit unusual for him, but alright. Maybe there was forest animals out there that he wants to go chase down. But fuck this. Did not want to chance anything, so I pulled him back inside and we both headed back upstairs. Around half an hour later, I was lying in bed when I heard the sound of hooves walking on my roof. It was only a series of around 6 steps, and I rationalized that it could be a pine cone falling from the tree onto the roof, or maybe a kind of hearted forest animal running around. But here's the thing, the steps seemed to be spaced apart, like a band's length stride. So it was really freaking me out. Midnight also heard the noise and was quick to run to the balcony screen door, expecting me to let him out. Alright, you know what? I'm a tough guy. And at the time, I considered myself to be fairly well built and strong enough to handle myself. So I grabbed my coat and my shoes along with my cigarettes and a flashlight and went outside onto the balcony. Fuck it, right? As soon as I was outside, I lit up my cigarettes and started canvassing the roof with my light. Nothing there, and snow was on top was undisturbed. Weird. Must have all been in my head. What about midnight hearing the noise? Maybe he was feeding off my fear or paranoia. I started to calm down and relax again. By the way, I am shaking right now. My heart is beating hard as I'm typing the next bit. My eyes started to adjust to the darkness. I kept smoking and staring at the stars and the trees next to our cabin. That's when I saw it. In a tree that was a little taller than our cabin, around 20 feet from the balcony. I saw what looked like a man, crouched in the squatting position between two branches. It was squatted on the branch. Its arms were extended above its head, holding onto the branch above it. Fuck me. What the fuck is that? I wasn't sure if I was seeing this thing and just stood just staring and sat there motionless. I noticed Midnight stand up and start pacing behind me, lightly barking at the same time. The thing did not move. I put my cigarette out and I was debating on shining the light in the thing's direction, but something in my head kept screaming not to. So I walked backwards to the inside of my room and pulled Midnight with me. Once inside, I locked the door and shined the light in the thing's direction, but there was nothing there. I shut the curtains to the screen door and retreated back into the bed. But later on that night, I heard a light tapping on the screen door, like someone was tapping on the glass with their fingers. It was consistent and did not stop. For nearly an hour, Midnight seemed to stare at the door, but wouldn't go near it anymore. The weirdest part was that I had the feeling like someone was inviting me to open the door. At the same time, I kept hearing my dad's voice in my head telling me to stay in bed and not do it. I listened to my dad's voice and just stayed there where I was. Passed out eventually, woke up in the morning, and everything was normal. The rest of the week I spent was non-eventful, and nothing else out of the ordinary happened. I totally admit that it could have all been in my head. A lot of stuff was going on at the time, so I was pretty fucked up from all the drama. So they have a bunch of edits, but I don't know if that's really like relevant to discussing this or just kind of like the ambiance. So I don't know. Do people normally include edits when they do these kind of stories? So let me see if I had another story picked out a while back, but I hadn't actually, I'll pick out stories, but I don't actually read them before I actually go to, make the video. I just kind of look for things that look somewhat okay. So I think I'll just consider that fine for today's video and go into editing, because I think I want to add some spooky little music to this. But peace out, comment, and subscribe, and I hope that I did a little fun reading that won't be too spooky, but just spooky enough that us scared bitches can get a little fun in the season. So, yet again, comment, and subscribe, and please help me have this video go successful, because otherwise I might not keep doing it, and you know what, I know us scared bitches need this. So peace out, girlies.